Hello and welcome to Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. Last week's show was nice and short. It was short and sweet, giving you an overview of community. I was inspired and I wanted to pass on that high-level vibration of inspiration to you. This week's show is the longest show I've ever produced, so please bear with me. It is well worth the time, and I really want to know your response to it. So please reach out after listening to the show and let me know what you thought. And please do it in writing. I would love to see it. Just a few announcements before we kick into the show, which is falling in love with your future. There is the 30-day manifestation challenge happening May 1st. This is the last week to register and get into the private Facebook group if you want to join us. And also it is, I think, the last week of the $100 off the event in September, the next big step. So if you're interested in that, and there is a 5-month payment plan to make it even easier, go to jjflazanes.com/next big step. All right, here we go. Caine is called the Future Whisperer because as a hypnotherapist, healer, metaphysician, futurist, author, inspirational speaker, and life coach, he is the only therapist in the world who has created an entire therapy, healing, and growth process based on connecting people with their ideal future. His process is called FutureVisioning. Ty's going to tell us all about his story, about how he got into this, but I do want you to make sure that when you're done with the show, you check out his website, which is FutureVisioning.com. Welcome to the show, Ty.
Hi, JJ. Happy to be here.
Good. I'm happy to finally get you booked on the show. Sorry it took so long. And I'm
excited. The timing is just perfect.
It really is, because we ran into each other recently and we had a conversation about relationships and what you do, future visioning, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that really intrigued me, and it almost haunted me in a good way, I really thought about it for like several days, was you made a statement that said women marry their mates or husbands' potential, or women date a man's potential, or it had to do with...
The way I said it was, women marry a man's future self.
There you go. Which also could mean potential to me, but
exactly.
Right?
They're similar, but they're also somewhat different. And I work with the future as a real self. So it's not, potential is sort of undefined and oftentimes does not come true. A future self is more solid and more real. And that's why women say I do. They see the man that he could be, and usually he doesn't do that.
Right. So it stuck with me for so long. And I remember thinking that I've heard advice from different relationship experts about, and whether it be maybe even law of attraction principles, about not really making peace with what is and not expecting anything more. Now, there's good and bad to that. I know what we're going to talk about is going to sort of obliterate that. And you're going to say, no, go for the future and see your future.
It's going to blow that out of the water,
right,
and save lives in the process.
Right. There is absolutely a vibrational shift when someone does make peace with what is, because I've experienced it. It works. I think it has to be a balance, because if vibrationally and frequency wise, you're upset with what's going on, then you emit that and you attract more of that. And so I think that there's part of it is making peace with what is, but the excitement, the passion, the future. I mean, also law of attraction. I was thinking about what you said in terms of people doing future things. And I do a lot of law of attraction. Law of attraction is about focusing forward on what you want, visualizing, visioning, seeing it, making it real, acting as if, and that's all very much a part of that. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about what you do? I know I read your bio and your background, but explain a little bit more in depth in terms of how it's different.
Yes, absolutely. Love to. And when you were reading my bio, did you see the picture of me bungee jumping?
Yes. Well, yes, I read the bio, but the audience can't see the picture you sent me.
I know. Maybe if they go to my website, they can find it. It's in a video that I did there. But I love the adventures, like bungee jumping. So I grew up in Utah and Montana. My heart is in Montana. We have a cabin up there on a lake, and we didn't have running water or electricity or anything when I first started going there as a kid. And I spent every summer of my life at our cabin in Montana, and fell in love with the woods and adventures and riding my motorcycle, water skiing, and all that kind of stuff. And living in Utah, and snow skiing, and just the adventure of life. And so I was like just a kid from the mountains. And then when I was like 19, 20, I discovered a course called Alpha Awareness, which was the first it was like a version of the Silva mind control thing. And they were doing it in Utah, which is a very Mormon place. And there wasn't a whole lot of consciousness stuff, particularly it was in like 1971. And there was no consciousness stuff going on, except that this guy came through and did this course. And I took it and it was like mind blowing. And then a couple years later, after I dropped out of college, the first time to go to Aspen to be a ski bum, and then the second time I dropped out because my friend who I met in college he was a grizzly bear biologist, and he was studying grizzly bears in Alaska. And he wrote me and he said, "I'm going to Nepal to study Bengal tigers with National Geographic. Do you want to go?" And this is back way before we had cell phones and messages. And so I wrote him back a handwritten letter. I said, "Of course I want to go. Where's Nepal?" Had no idea. Had to look it up on the map, and it's exactly the opposite side of the planet from Salt Lake City, Utah. So I got on a plane, off we went to India and Nepal. The tiger study didn't happen because they ran out of funding and stuff before we got there. But the reason it happened was the future was get to Nepal and blow your mind. So this was in 1974, and it was like the heyday of the metaphysical, the Marrakesh Express, and it was just an amazing experience. And it blew my mind, opened my heart. I realized, oh my God, there's a much bigger world than Salt Lake City and sort of a very conservative Mormon perspective on life. I wasn't my Mormon, my dad was, but I wasn't, my mom wasn't. So I came back from Nepal and I didn't fit in Utah anymore. I never really did fit in my family because I'm a weirdo, but I just didn't fit in the whole state. So I started traveling out to California. And just because I said, there's something awakened in me. I don't even know what to call it. Didn't have a name for it. Didn't know it was spirituality. Didn't know it was my future. Didn't know. But I just said, I have to follow this. It's non-negotiable. So I'd fly out to California, fly out to San Francisco, walk around the streets for a week, wonder what I'm looking for, not find it, go home, come back a couple months later. Finally met a guy who was living at the Living Love Center in Berkeley. And so it was a spiritual center and like 50, 60, 70 people all living in one house. And I came out and just said, oh my God, this is my family. This is my home. So I moved from Utah to California. And that was in 1974, 76. And I moved to LA to start a film production company because I had some money in a trust fund that I had to get rid of. So a good way to get rid of your money is open a film production company. And so, but every evening, every weekend, I was doing spiritual stuff. And I did everything because I was in LA, it's like the Mecca. I became a rebirther. I learned meditation and spiritual practices and energetic healing and consciousness and affirmations and positive thinking and did all of that stuff. Like every night, every weekend, I was just like kid in a candy store. Unfortunately, after 10 years of all of that kind of stuff and being in the moment, I even went to India twice to be with the gurus, do the spiritual thing. And after 10 years of that, wound up back in Utah on a skiing vacation with a life-threatening illness in a hospital with 3 doctors saying, you'll be dead within hours if you don't have surgery. And they're rolling me towards the operating room.
What was your illness?
Appendicitis.
Okay.
And I'm headed towards the operating room, and I'd been studying metaphysics, all this spiritual stuff, positive thinking, all of that. But along the line, I found Lazarus, which was a whole different ballgame, like a completely different world. And Lazarus was the one who talked about you create your own reality, everything, including the stars, including Mercury, whether it's in retrograde or not, you're creating it. This is an illusion. We live in a hologram. It's a movie. And Lazarus was the only one who talked about that with no ifs, ands, or buts, no asterisk, no, well, except when he said, no, you create it all. And the other thing he said that blew my mind was the future creates the present. That rocked my world because I had spent 10 years. I knew Ram Dass. He'd come through here all the time. I was taking LSD, being here now, going to India, being here now, hanging out with Ram Dass, being here now. And then I wound up in the hospital and realized none of that shit works. I'm dying and I'm in pain. Like on a scale of 0 to 10, it was an 18 to 20. And then we're rolling down the hall, headed for the operating room. And I looked up at the doctor and I said, no, I don't want surgery. The doctor was a woman. She was very cool. She looked at me and she said, wait, I didn't explain to you, you're dying. I said, no, I heard that. I got it. But I don't want surgery. I'm going to heal this or die trying. It makes me cry right now. Can't believe I did that. What kind of a nut would do that when you're only, like I was like 7 years into the spiritual thing. And I just said no. And she looked at me and said, you have to sign this form. I said, no problem. I'm not wanting to sue the hospital. I'm wanting to go skiing. I came to Utah to go skiing and I want to live this metaphysics stuff. And it took me after 30 hours of pain, I finally, they were going to put me, I couldn't even get out of the wheelchair to get back in the car to go home. So I'm rolling down the hallway, and I'm visiting my mom when this happens, not an inconsequential detail. And my mom's pushing my wheelchair. We're rolling down the hall to go to the elevators to go so they can put me in a room and die, whatever I'm going to do. And I said, push me over to the phones. There were pay phones then. And I picked up the phone. I called Concept Synergy, was doing the Lazarus seminars. And I called Gerald and I said, I was talking to Lazarus every month back then. Now he doesn't do that anymore for years, but nobody knew about him then. He was brand new. And I said, Gerald got on the phone. I said, Gerald, I'm dying and I need to talk to Lazarus immediately. And he said, oh God, Ty, Jack, who channels Lazarus, is on a plane and across the country. We can't get in touch with him. I said, oh my God, I'm going to die. And my heart just sunk through the floor. I was like, that's it. Game's over. Shit. And then Gerald, bless his heart, he said, I cannot tell you what Lazarus would say because I'm not that wise. But I can tell you, everyone we've known who's had inflamed gut issues has had problems with unresolved anger. Bingo, the light went off. I looked up at my mom and I said, Mom, we need to talk. Thank you, Gerald. Thanks, buddy. Hang up the phone, up into the hospital room. It almost kills me just moving from the wheelchair into the bed. I was in so much pain. My mom walks in and I start talking to her about our cabin in Montana, which, as I said, is where I grew up, my favorite place in the world. That's where my heart lives. My body's in LA, but my heart is in the mountains in Montana. So my mom and dad divorced when I was 20. They shared a cabin for a couple of years in the agreement, and then that was awkward because my dad had a new family. And then my mom and I started talking about getting another cabin, and I went down to my friend's place at the other end of the lake and got drunk one night for the 4th of July party, slept on their sofa, woke up in the morning and started talking to them. And they said, well, our neighbors don't use their cabin much at all. So I went over, looked at it, said, this is perfect. I'm going to fix it. Called my mom's. Yes, let's do it. She said, okay. She came and looked at it and she just divorced. So she had cash. I had $1 million trust fund, but it was in stocks and you're not supposed to sell your principal. So I said, Mom, you pay for it. You've got cash. It was only $25,000, which was not a lot of money at that time for either one of us. I said, you pay for it. I found it. I'm going to fix it up. My friends are going to run it. So we're partners. Great. Partners. My future is I'm an old man. I'm sitting on the front porch of this cabin because now I have my cabin and after my mom dies, it'll be mine. And 5-10 years later, my mom and I are having an argument about where to pile the wood. And I'm the one who cuts the wood. I love my chainsaw. And she says, no, you don't pile it over there. It's my cabin. You do it my way. And I just feel this gut punch. Oh my God. Legally, it's her cabin. And my mom doesn't like men. It took me 40 years to learn that, but she doesn't like men. And so I've just been betrayed by 5 years later, I'm in the hospital. My mom's standing there next to my hospital bed. And I say, Mom, I am so angry. I'm so hurt. I'm so betrayed over the cabin. It's my favorite thing in the world. And you've betrayed me and ripped it off. And I have zero ownership in the place that I was going to spend my future. My future had crashed 5 years before. It took 5 years to fester. And now my appendix is exploding. As then I'm talking to her and I'm saying, I'm so hurt and I feel hopeless because it was a verbal agreement. There's no legal recourse. I can't do it. And I go, wait, there's something wrong in this room. What's wrong with this picture? Oh, my pain is gone. 100%, completely gone. I walked out of the hospital. No, actually, the doctor walked in the next morning. I'm already dressed, ready to go skiing. She says, you're supposed to be dead. And I said, I know, but I'm not. And the food sucks in this crappy hotel. Check me out. I got to go skiing. And she said, do you have any books you might recommend? So the first time I discovered the real power of metaphysics, I created this little exercise called Life and Death. The second time was 10 years later, after living life, getting married, having a child, wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life, going into sales because I don't know what to do, blew my trust fund. So then I had to go to work and I was freaking out. 10 years later, I'm driving up the 405 and I'm wishing that the right front tire on my car would blow so that my car, because I'm in the middle of a horrible divorce, losing half time with my daughter in a sales job that I hate. And I'm driving along wishing that the right front tire would blow so that my car would swerve over and hit this huge concrete column that holds up the Sepulveda overpass. And then I'd be out of pain. And I realized, oh my God, I'm wanting to commit suicide. But I don't have the balls to say that I want to commit suicide. I'm hoping that it looks like an accident. So I'm asking the right front tire to, God, please puncture the right front tire. So I freak out. It's the first time I've ever been suicidal. other than bungee jumping and stuff like that, which was not really a suicide wish. It's just the fun of it. So I drive home freaked out. Literally, I'm shaking. I walk into my house and I'm scared because, oh my God, I'm suicidal. Suicidal ideation is like you're supposed to put yourself in a padded room. And so I walk into my house and then I realize, that was a bad idea, because I grew up in Utah and Idaho, Montana. I have guns. And I walked into my house. I know my guns are in the closet down the end of the hall. And I go, oh my God, I was scared in the car wanting to commit suicide. Now I'm like 10 steps away from my guns and I'm a good shot. I wouldn't miss. And that scared the shit out of me. I was terrified. I literally sat in a chair and cried and shook for like 2 hours. Saying, I hate my life and I don't want to be here. And I have a daughter. It was the only thing I was hanging on to that was keeping me here. And then all of a sudden I had this blazing insight that just rocked my world, changed my whole life. I started thinking, okay, love doesn't work. My marriage is falling apart. Life is a constant struggle. I hated my career. The only bright spot is my daughter. But other than that, life is just this constant painful challenge. And so then I thought about my future, because 10, 15 years earlier, Lazarus had said, the future creates the present. I started thinking about my future. Let me see. Love doesn't work. Life doesn't work. You just have a career that you struggle and hate. And then you hang out and struggle for 70 years. And I go, the part of me that wants to kill myself is the only sane part of me. It's a completely rational, sane idea. If someone came up and said, yeah, you get 70 more years of struggle, it's a completely sane choice to want out of here. So I started laughing and said, oh my God, suicide is a completely sane choice. It is the desire to get out. So it's either kill myself, which I knew I could do, but then I said, oh wait, there's another choice. I could change my future. And that moment, I changed my future. I quit my job in my head. The next day, I drove over to the hypnosis school, signed up for their hypnosis course, because I had looked at that 5 years earlier and said, that would be really cool. But then I stayed in my martyred, self-pitying victim state for 5 more years, came back, destroyed my marriage, destroyed my life, went back to the same school, signed up to become a hypnotherapist, said, I don't even know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to have some fun in life or it's not worth being here. Then went through all the hypnosis study and all that kind of stuff, had already studied every kind of therapy, healing, all that, realized most of it doesn't work. Most of the hypnosis stuff is about the past and past life. So with my first client, I said, well, we could go back and I could spend years with you doing past life stuff, childhood issues. But I said, what does your future look like? Because that's the thing that saved my life when I had my appendicitis. It's the thing that saved my life instantly also when I was suicidal. So I said, what would your future look like if it worked? With my first volunteer client who I just shanghaied and said, hey, I need a guinea pig to start practicing now. I said, what would your future look like? She said, I don't know. And in that moment, I realized, oh my God, the single biggest problem in my life, the single biggest problem in her life. Now I've been doing this for 25 years, full time, with tens of thousands of people I've talked to. The single biggest problem in every person I've ever met is they cannot see their future. And it doesn't matter. So with all those other things, the positive thinking and the law of attraction and the spiritual stuff and the energetic healing and the right eating and right livelihood and all, none of that shit makes a bit of difference. What I discovered is if you're not changing your future, everything else you do is equivalent to rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. And rearranging the deck chairs will never change anything. You have to change the course of the ship first. So that's what I started doing with my very first client. I said, well, let's just make up a future, dream it up. So, okay, what would physically, financially, emotionally, would you rather be dead or alive? Okay, how alive? So we went through, created this whole chart that I use with my clients now, created an awesome future. And then I had her close her eyes and took her out into her future. And I thought you had to do like I had done 10, 15, 20 years of therapy and healing and inner child processing and all that stuff. This was the very first session. I had her close her eyes, took her out to her future. She went from dark and gray and her skin was kind of pasty and she was miserable. She had chronic fatigue syndrome for like 7 years, headaches, all this stuff, panic, bad relationship. I took her out to her future. She started glowing like a 1,000-watt light bulb right in front of my eyes. And I'd been working in the healing arts for like 15 years. I'd never seen a transformation like that in my life. And it lasted. The next week when she came back, she was still glowing. So I've been doing that for 25 years. And it's not only fun, but it works. And it's the fastest way to change I've ever found. The other cool thing it does by connecting to your future, the resistance, you could spend years in analysis. You could do 1,000 past life journeys. You could spend years and years and years doing affirmations and all that crap that I did. Don't do that anymore. Don't recommend it. And the problem, the one thing, the law of attraction is cool, but I don't teach the law of attraction. I teach you create your own reality because they're different.
But that's exactly what Abraham said, was you create your own reality. So when you said that, I've never heard of Lazarus, which is interesting to me. It's the same exact statement that Abraham has made in law of attraction for 35 years, is
right.
You're the creator of your own reality, which
exactly.
sounds like it's really, when we get down to it, it's the same nuts and bolts. It's just how you deliver it.
Well, no, it's not how you deliver it. I'm a hypnotherapist. My job is communication. My destiny is to explore communication. What's really important with communication is how the person receives it. It's what they actually get from the communication. And the problem with the law of attraction is what everyone hears from that is, oh, I'm sick. If I use the law of attraction the way most people hear it and understand it, I would be dead. I wouldn't even be here right now. The law of attraction is, and this, like, you can go on Facebook, I see it every week, sadly, people who are sick and they're saying, I'm using prayer, the law of attraction, positive thinking, affirmations, all these energetic things to try to get well. That's not how you heal. That is not how you heal a serious illness. I've been there. The way you heal a serious illness, and the law of attraction is, okay, I'm sick now. I'm going to try to imagine and visualize, which becomes a fantasy of being healthy and being getting over this somewhere in the future. But that's important to know where you want to go. But the way you heal an illness is like I spent 30 hours in pain before I healed my appendicitis. I spent 30 hours the first 3 minutes, I said, oh God, please help me. And I started thinking affirmations and try to, imagine and hope for a healing and try to be positive about it. And I said, that's a waste of time. And what I'd learned from Lazarus, and Lazarus is teaching us the reality that we've created. It's amazing. He said, we're not like teaching you Lazarus's wisdom. He said, we're teaching you about how your reality works so that you can do it better. It's not Lazarus's philosophy. It's the way reality works. And he said, the way you create an illness, you create your illness. It's not Mercury in retrograde. It's not the water. It's not the air. It's not your childhood issues even. It's you using your childhood issues and all those patterns to create. So I asked myself for 30 hours while I was in the hospital, before I went to the hospital and when I got there, and failed completely for 30 hours. So the last minute I realized it. I kept asking myself, what am I doing to create this illness that's killing me? What am I doing to create this? And I asked that question for 30 hours. Never got an answer. I don't know. God, I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to live my life. I'm just here on vacation. Let's see, what am I doing? Well, I don't know. I'm not really hurting anyone. I had buried the anger so completely because it was like from years and years and years before. And I had completely buried it. Wasn't gone. It was just buried. As soon as Gerald said, unresolved anger. Bingo. I knew exactly what it was. And I was the one who did it. It wasn't the water. It wasn't the air. It wasn't Mercury in retrograde. It was me holding on to my anger that was killing me, and me expressing it healed instantaneously. So the difference between the way people hear the law of attraction is, I'm sick, I'm going to try to attract health. The way you hear you create your own reality means you created your illness. You created your relationship problem. You created your career problem. You created everything. And until you own that, you cannot change it.
Right. No, I'm incomplete. Okay, let's pause. Okay. Let me in. It's my show.
Absolutely.
I'm in complete agreement with that. You're the creator of your own reality is where I started with law of attraction. So I think I agree with you that most people misinterpret law of attraction.
Exactly. It's the foundation.
It's not about, because in true metaphysics, law of attraction, those things, and even in the FutureVisioning wouldn't work if your frequency and vibration doesn't shift. It's not about the action. It's about the emotion that is attached to the action and the belief that you have about where you're going. And if you believe it, so I'm hearing and I'm guessing, and I know you took me through like a mini process when I first met you last year, or not, I had met you before years and years and years ago, but when we were connected last year and you took me through a mini process, that definitely, there's that belief, because in order to, and I know you're going to talk more about this, but because I need to marry this, because you're right now, I'm sure there's people cringing because they are huge law of attraction. I use it all the time. It's a thread through everything and I do. And I don't for half a second doubt the power of it. So for
Right.
me, I agree with everything you've said in terms of, you created your own reality. You owned what you did to create it. You owned the energy around having the anger that created the disease. And even when looking at things that don't work and people misunderstanding that they're going to think positive things, but yeah, there's so many people that think it's about putting up a vision board and then just waiting for pictures to manifest in their life when they don't
Right.
understand that that's part of the future visioning in my mind of like that you're actually creating something, but you see it, you believe it 100% so much in your cells of your body that you now emit a different frequency than you did before, which lines you up with better things, which is why it changes your life. I don't think they're different things. It's just that the problem is you're probably battling a lot of people that misunderstand the law of attraction, and they think it's all just like you said about positive affirmations or wishing, but not really believing and not really owning what's my part in this? What did I do? Yes, I believe, I know that Mercury retrograde makes a difference only if you're in alignment with it, though. If you buy into it and you align with that, of course you're going to experience computers not working. But if you don't pay attention to it and don't
Have we ever
believe
done
it,
that?
what?
Have we ever done that?
What?
You and I? Computer's not working?
Yeah, today.
Yes, we did.
Right. Because that just makes me cautious to say, and so I'm in alignment with that belief, which is why that I'm going to attract things happening that justify and prove my belief. So if you're not in alignment with it, if you don't pay attention to it, if you vibrate higher than it, because it still exists. I just did a show with Melanie Benson and it aired a couple of months ago. And an analogy that I gave to her about law of attraction is being like in a building of like 30 floors, and every floor is a different frequency. And if you start at the bottom and you think that's depression, and you move up to the top, which is freedom and joy and love, and then there's everything in between. When you're on floor number 2, you can't see, hear, nor experience anything that's happening on floor number 5, period. It exists, it exists, but you're not experiencing it because you're not in alignment with it. So it can coexist at the same exact time. That's why I do the building analogy, because there is no hard and fast, this is what it is. This is what it is for you because of what you're attracting, because of what you believe and where your frequency is.
Right.
But other people in the same environment, in the same day, in the same minute can be having much different experiences because they're on a whole different frequency than you are. And you two could be having completely 2 different realities, completely different interpretations of those realities because you're in different frequencies. So I don't want to put law of attraction in the bucket, because I have people who are following the show and me, because law of attraction is a huge undercurrent to their life. I want to take and meld it together and use it to power your future visioning. So now you went to hypnosis and you became a hypnotherapist, but it sounds like out of the gate, you didn't use hypnosis, so to speak. You didn't go backwards, or did you use hypnosis, but you just changed the focus?
No, the truth. Well, Seth started before Lazarus showed up, and long time before Abraham. Seth was the originator of the first one who talked about you create your own reality.
Yes, I know Seth. Yes, and Abraham refers to Seth. Yes.
Right. And I found Seth years and years ago, way before Lazarus. That's what sort of brought me to California. And he talked, one of his chapters in one of his books was, a trance is a trance is a trance. And then there's another, I don't remember whether there's a chapter or another book that said, trances people live. So the bottom line, what I discovered and what I do now, my letters behind my name are certified hypnotherapist, blah, blah, blah. What that really means, what I really do, my entire career for 25 years now, what I'm really doing is dehypnotizing people, because we're walking around, I'm sure you know and love we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. You know that quote, right?
Absolutely.
It's true. We are gods and goddesses pretending to be human, walking around pretending to be limited. That's a trance. So if I could count, okay, your audience, here's an exercise for the audience right now, going to change your whole life. And literally these ideas, if they do, I'll tell you about in my book, the story of falling in love with your future. If you let yourself fall in love and understand the future right now today, you'll be different by the time this call ends. And my colleague, Valerie, the whole book is about her life change from one call like this. She got the significance of the future and it changed the whole course of her life. So if I could count to 3, I'm a hypnotherapist, so I'm going to pretend that which is true, you're all walking around in a trance thinking that you're limited. And I'm going to count to 3. Like, you know, hypnosis at the end of the hypnosis show, he counts to 3, snaps his finger, and everybody wakes up, right? So I'm going to count to 3 and then snap my fingers. And I want you to wake up and remember who you really are. 1, 2, 3. If you remembered who you really are, your chronic fatigue would be gone. Your diseases would disappear. Your depression would disappear. And you would find spontaneously you're in love with your future because you know that you can create an awesome future because you are God. You are the goddess. So what would you do? Come here and struggle for 70 years? No, bad idea. Come here and have fun for 70, 80, 90, 100, go on for 110 years. If you snap out of the hypnosis you've been walking around in, so I've been dehypnotizing people for 25 years. And myself included. I had to do this like the hard way. I've been to the edge of death numerous times, more than those. But those 2 big ones were when I really discovered the significance of changing your future. You people listening to this, if you change your future right now, not even knowing how to do it, and what you said there, a couple of, actually, let me give you a quote. And Lazarus is the most brilliant source of wisdom I've ever found. I've been with him for 37 years and will be for the rest of my life. The most incredible material I've ever found. And so there's so many one-line quotes that change the whole game of life. Like the future creates the present. That just completely blows the whole world of psychology out of the water. Another one is, and there's 7 principles that make the future visioning process work. Another one is, if you look for simple answers, you guarantee yourself a difficult life. If, however, you're willing to embrace complexity, then you can have an easy life. That takes like 60%, 70% of the self-help books in the world and just blows them out the window, because they're all the simple process to change your life. There is no simple process for changing your life. We've tried it. I tried it for 10 or 15 years and wound up in a hospital dying. I tried it for another 10 years and wound up suicidal. Simple answers cannot work. Literally, it's a law of physics. You cannot solve a complex problem with a simple answer. You have to address the complexity. So the details make a difference. Like in the legal world, it's the big print giveth, the small print taketh away. Details make a big difference, especially like we used to be puttering along, driving along 10, 15 miles an hour in our reality. We're now going at like 185. We're driving in a Ferrari, and we're doing 185 miles an hour. I used to race cars too when I was young. When you're racing a car, if you're doing anything over 70, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, tiny little differences are the difference between not only winning the race, but life and death. The same thing is true now spiritually. We're accelerating into the future. The future is drawing us forward faster. So the details make a difference, which is why I point out the difference between the law of attraction, which everybody says, well, I'm sick. I'm going to put on my vision board, me dancing the flowers in the fields and happy and healthy. And it never works. I've talked to tens of thousands of people in the last 10, 20, 30 years. And most healers are sick. Most coaches are still working their day job. It's tragic. 95% of self-help book buyers are repeat buyers. Why are they buying again? Because obviously the one they bought before didn't work. Right. I did that. So wait, let me just finish. The point is that 100%, the law of attraction, the reason, so I recommend, if you're going to use the law of attraction, change it and redefine it accurately and make sure you talk about that and think about it. The easier way is not use the phrase, talk about creating your reality, because that immediately implies, oh, you created your disease. You created your struggle in life, your relationship problem, your career. You created it. And if you figure out how you created it, you can uncreate it. And one other thing, detail that's hugely important, you were talking about, and I like the analogy of the first floor, depression, been there, wanted to go through the floor, and decided to look up. What future vision, and you said you can't understand the other floors, but you can. That's what meditation, that's what hypnosis, that's what future visioning is about. You can be on the 3rd floor in a serious depression. I was on the ground floor, laying on the floor, looking down. I rolled over, I looked up, and I just imagined, what would it be like to be on the 30th floor? What would it be like to be having fun? And our imagination is so powerful. I could imagine, oh, I'd be happy. I'd be enjoying my life. And then bingo, I said, oh, I think I want to drop my sales job, become a hypnotherapist, go have some fun in life, and help other people have fun. I could imagine. So future visioning, basically, what I do is I have people close their eyes, which we could do here. We could do a real quick exercise and give everyone actually an experience of their future right now. Get on the elevator, go up to the 30th floor, walk around, see it, feel it, get used to it, get excited about it. But then you have to tell the truth that you're the one keeping yourself on the 1st floor. That's where it's important to look at creating a reality, not just trying to attract your way out of it, not just trying to visualize, not just trying to use an affirmation or a vision board. I met tens of thousands of people who have those and they're still sick. You have to not only go to the future first, but then you have to tell the truth about, oh, I chose to wallow around in the self-pity. And this is where Lazarus differs from every other teacher I've ever found in the world. He spent years teaching me, and I'm a little slow in that it took me years to figure this crap out, talking about victimhood and martyrhood and self-pity and why we love our self-pity, why we hang on to our victimhood. And until I owned that I was hanging on to my pain in the hospital, if I didn't own that I was creating and holding on to my own struggle, self-pity, martyrhood, and disease, I would be dead right now. The way you heal, you go to the future first, the future visioning process. Go to the future first, see where you want to go, get clear about that, get excited about it, but then come back and tell the truth. I would, if I was in Montana, I would talk a little more colorfully there. I would say, tell the effing truth about why you're holding on to your pain, your suffering. And that's where the work needs to be done, not more vision boards and more affirmations. Tell the truth about why you like being a victim. Who are you trying to get to save you, which is the bottom line of a victim's game. When I did that, instantaneous healing, instantaneous change, got to take the elevator right to the 30th floor, didn't stop at the 15th, boom, create a new career, created a new life. So that, and you don't have to, like you said, you have to be 100%. Have you ever been 100% sure about anything, JJ?
Yes. Many
Well,
times, absolutely many times. And they always come true because, and for no other reason than I absolutely believed it 100%.
Well, but I would differ that, and I'm a hypnotherapist. In your computer, even your computer right now, this morning we had trouble getting the Skype and the Zoom to go. There are glitches in the software in your computer. There are glitches in our brain. And one of the things is I've never been 100%. I used to think, okay, I got to be 100%. And I spent years being disappointed. Well, apparently I'm not 100%. And that's when my life sucks. What I realize is you do not have to be 100%. I really, being honest about it, I've never been 100% sure about anything in my life. Even when I'm excited about, oh my God, I want to bungee jump. I want to throw myself off this 50. There's a part of me going that you're going to die, dude. This is nuts. What the hell's wrong with you? But so what all that's really necessary to tip reality is 51%. You only have to be 51% and willing. And then you change your reality. 100% for a human being is virtually impossible. I know as a hypnotherapist, I go into people into the depth of their pain and their suffering. The victimhood that we bought since we were children is always with us. You can't be 100% sure. Your brain it's going in 1,000 different directions every day, every moment. All you have to do is 50%, but the most important part is be willing to have things change, to be willing to let go of your disease, be willing to let go of the struggle. And to let go of it, you can't just say, I'm willing, positive thinking. That's never worked. You have to go in and own why you're holding on to it. What are you hoping to get from the victimhood? And as soon as you do that, your reality changes literally instantaneously in a moment.
So in the beginning, I was telling you about making peace with something, and that's part of that. So that's the same thing.
No, it's a little different.
Well, okay.
Again, the details, like, and I hope you don't mind. I'm going to be honest with you about everything, because I know there are people in your audience right now, and their life depends on what we're talking about right now. And I cannot just be like, people get upset with me. Some of the people in your audience probably pissed off at me right now. Well, that's the way it's got to be. Like, I read a great quote the other day. It said, "Being honest will not attract a lot of friends, but it will attract the right friends." And so I'm going to be honest with this stuff, because literally, if I wasn't, I would be dead. My clients, every one of them that comes to me, now they've been doing spiritual stuff and trying to be at peace and trying to do the law of attraction for 10, 20, 30 years, and they're still sick, and their relationships are dying, and their bodies are dying. Out of respect for them, I can't just be nice and get along and say, oh yeah, all paths lead to the mountain. No, most paths lead to death and destruction. 95% of people in our country fail financially and emotionally in their lives. 95% of dieters fail. 95% of the book buyers buying self-help books are buying it again because obviously the one did. You know them. We know them. I was one. It sucks to be in pain.
Absolutely.
It's a lot more fun to create joy, but in order to do it, you have to take on the level of honesty. We're not human beings. We're spiritual beings. If you were God, if you were the goddess, you wouldn't pretend that your illness came from something in your childhood, or from the air, or from you ate too many McDonald's hamburgers when you were young. I was a pain in the ass vegetarian for 7 years, and it didn't change my life at all. It was worse by the end because I was arrogant about it. Now I eat what I like, eat pretty healthy, but I eat what I like, and I love life. So that to find what you want, if you could take the elevator, okay, try this right now.
Hold on, stop. You
What?
have to stop.
What?
You have to let me in.
Oh yes, you're right.
This is
I
my
apologize.
show.
I apologize. I get on a roll, as you
I know.
probably noticed.
So before we do I want to wrap this up, not wrap up, like I want to come back to what the show was called in the beginning, which is falling in love with your future. So we hear and we know and we're going to do a visioning process, a future visioning process,
Cool.
and I'm totally on board. Get it. You go to the future, you see it, you have to believe it, and you feel good about it.
It's more important to feel it than believe it. Cause they're like I said, a part of us believes it, but a big part of me all the way through that, that ain't never going to happen. Like I was in the hospital, the chances of healing, I was probably 5% confident while I was in the hospital that I could heal it, and 95% sure I'm dead. This is over. But I kept trying. And then I was honest, and I wanted the future, did not trust it at all. Well, there's a good example of what I was saying. I wasn't anywhere near 100% sure. I was 97% sure I was going to die. But 3%, I said, no, I don't want to die. And I'm willing to be honest. I'm willing to be honest. And bingo.
Right. So in terms of the future part, though, you're getting into you made the comment about the floors and that you can be on a different floor. You can, but not simultaneously. And I'm not saying that law of attraction doesn't say that immediately you can't jump from one to another floor. Absolutely. That's the whole point of recalibration. It's the point of what you're focused on and how that whatever you're focused on brings up an emotion within you and therefore a frequency and a frequency change. You absolutely can within minutes and seconds change your frequency. But when you're on a frequency, when you're on that dial, whatever that is, you cannot hear what's on the other one simultaneously. You can you can see it, but you're not going to experience it because you're not even aware of it because it's not even on your frequency level. It's the whole point of what the difference is.
Wait. Right now, we're at whatever level and living our lives. Can we right now, you and I both imagine a world where everybody is happy and people actually really do enjoy themselves and they're acting like the gods and goddesses that they really are? That incredible event with the Unstoppable Foundation and seeing pictures of transforming villages in Africa and people getting healthy and girls getting educated and transforming. And it's like, we can imagine, it's not there now, but right now while we're here, we can also imagine a world where all girls get educated. In Africa or in this country or wherever you can imagine them. The imagination is so powerful, and you can do it right now while you're still here, taking care of business, making sure life is going on, and imagining at the same time. Our brain is multidimensional.
Right, but we're not right. But they're different. Thinking about something and experiencing something and manifesting, these are different things. So I think I think there's a little bit of an overgeneralization, which I don't want to get into because because I think what you're offering and what you do is very powerful. But I don't want to keep bashing law of attraction because I honestly think it's not true. I disagree with you that I agree that everybody, for the most part, misunderstands. That they do not understand the complexities about law of attraction and they think it's a simple thing and they don't want to take ownership at the same time. And I believe both is important, what you said in terms of future visioning and getting excited, but then coming back and being honest. I believe those two things, but law of attraction wouldn't disagree with either one of those things. I want to stop bashing law of attraction. Right. I understand your point. It's because you want the people who are using it to wake up a little bit and take responsibility and stop being victims. I hear that completely. And I agree with that completely. So none of this, there would be nowhere in law of attraction would say, yes, be a victim. That's never part of the message. So I don't know whose version of law of attraction you're listening to or your clients and friends have listened to, but I run groups where we practice this and people's lives change. Maybe not dramatically as what you're going to introduce to us, which is why I have you on the show. But I need to pause for 1 second. I want to ask you two more questions. Sure. Personal questions. Number one, what is your birth sign?
I'm a Virgo.
Interesting. Okay. Do you know your moon by any chance?
I think there's lots of Aquarius. I did know years ago, and I forgot.
Yeah, that feels right.
I really love details. I love paying attention to details. As you can tell, it makes a huge. And let me please apologize. I am not bashing law of attraction. I am trying to redefine and define it accurately, and bashing the fact that it's been ill-defined and simplified. And if you take something beautiful and simplified, if you take quantum physics and simplify it, it turns to crap. If you take the law of attraction and simplify it to, just have a positive attitude, which too many people have done. I did it, and it put me in a hospital. So I'm not bashing law of attraction. I'm encouraging people to pay attention to the details. If I was not a mechanic, and I am, I built my own car with my own hands, my first car. If I was working on your car and your brakes were leaking, I have an obligation to tell you your brakes are leaking. There's a problem there. And if you're saying, no, my car runs good, it's fine, and the windshield's clear and I can see where I'm going. That's what most people are doing with their spiritual practice. And it's dangerous. It kills people. It almost killed me. I have friends who have died. There are people on Facebook this week, I saw them, friends who are dying because they're trying to be positive instead of being real. So I'm not bashing law of attraction. I'm trying to redefine carefully what you need to know to create an awesome future. Because I want you and everyone in your audience and me to have an awesome, and my daughter to have an awesome future. I want the world to have an awesome future, but we can't do it with the generalizations, which is why I shared the quote. If you look for simple answers, which is just have a positive attitude, that's a simple answer and it kills people. It almost killed me. So I'm not trying to bash law of attraction or positive thinking. Define them and use them accurately. They're powerful if defined and used accurately. If not, they literally make people sicker because they're a form of delusion. So I'm not trying to, and people will get pissed at me anyhow, but I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm trying to help you see clearly the details so that you can create an awesome future. And as we started at the beginning, fall in love with your future, because that is the way I healed myself from my disease, from depression. That's how people come out of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. I've had lots. So since I did that myself, I've had lots of clients heal things instantly right in front of me just by getting, okay, I'm creating this. I'm going to own that, stop it, and create a different future. Step into the future. Poof. Miracles do happen. Go from the ground floor to the 30th floor. It's possible. Do we always do it? No, because there's a lesson that we want to learn sometimes in going through the dance. 1, 2, cha, cha, cha. 1, 2, oh, I get it. 1, 2, cha, cha, cha. There's something to learn in the process, but you could just go to the end result. You could go quickly.
And we're gonna do a process. I have one more question for you, though, that gives me an understanding and a foundation to your sort of overall belief. What do you believe about death?
It's just another chapter. It's just.
Do you believe we come back? Is there reincarnation? What happens?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And here's the cool part about it. Yes, of course, you can come back, but we're spiritual beings creating our reality now. That doesn't change when we die. When we die, we are still spiritual beings creating our reality. Do you want to come back and do another lifetime? Okay, do it. If you don't, go on. I don't want to. This is my last lifetime. And Lazarus did a workshop years ago saying, choosing this to be your last physical lifetime. I said, okay, sign up. I first signed up for that because I was still, my life sucked. And I was like, I just want out of here. That was part of the suicidal desire. But now it's just, I'm excited about the next game where I don't want to come back and do another lifetime because I don't want to be born. I don't want to go. When I was suicidal, I thought, okay, I could just kill myself and then I'll have to come back and I'll get born. I'll probably pick screwed up parents again because I obviously wanted to do that this time. So I'll do that again. And then I'll grow up and then, then I'll have to go to high school again.
Oh. You don't want to have another lifetime because you don't want to go to high school. You realize you'd be in a different body, in a different consciousness, in a different situation.
Yeah, but it's still high school. I burst out laughing and crying at this. I hated high school. I was so shy. I was so insecure. I didn't fit into the world. That's why I escaped Utah. But it literally made me laugh. I don't want to come back and do that again. I don't think I might. I might change my mind when I get there. But it's every moment you get to change. So of course nobody here is from here. There like people say, I don't think I'm from here. There's nobody who's from here. We're spirits. We came from other places. This is an illusion. The whole thing's a movie. So yes, you die. And the cool thing is when I take people on the future visioning journey, which we'll do in just a minute, not only do we go out 10 years from now and see your life working beautifully, go out to the end of this lifetime and see yourself happy, healthy, and empowered, where 99% of the population is programmed, get old, your body starts to fall apart, and then you die with tubes and diapers and all that stuff. That's what's already in most people's future. If we don't change that, that's what you get. So I take people out at the end of this lifetime to see yourself 90, 100 years old, happy, healthy, and then dying by your choice. Just go into a meditation, lift out of your body, which is what we do anyhow, but most people do it unconsciously. Go out, die consciously, and then open to God and the goddess and go into the love that is forever, because that's our ultimate future. If you open to that future, like right now, JJ, how does it feel to you just to hear that idea of opening to the future of love forever with God and the goddess, dancing, celebrating with them forever, that's your ultimate future? What happens in your body when you hear that idea?
Ease, relaxed.
Yes.
Open.
That's the future creating the present.
Yeah. So let's do it now. We're kind of tight on time because I like to keep the show a little bit less than an hour for people who are driving and commuting. And
Yes.
and for
Yes.
those of you that are driving and commuting, please don't close your eyes, pull over, do it.
Right.
Don't do this while you're driving. Wait till you get to your desk or to your home, or go into the bathroom when you get to work. If you're going to work, just please don't close your eyes while you're driving. Okay, here we go. Go
Right.
ahead.
If you're operating heavy equipment, don't close your eyes. But you can even play along with your eyes open. You just did it a moment ago. And yes, the reason we're running over is obviously because I talk a lot. And thank you for having me, JJ. And now once we get this stuff, I can't wait to talk to you more, because then as we discuss stuff, I wanted to get all this sort of the basics out there so you have a picture of the future and the significance and the power of it, and then to start working with it. So I apologize for talking so much and talking over you, JJ. So now do this exercise. And JJ, would you be the like representative of the audience? So as we do the exercise, I will ask you a couple of questions, like about like right then, like how you feel.
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to do two really easy visualizations. And this is taken me 42 years of spiritual stuff to distill this experience of the future down to these two easy exercises we can do in like 5 minutes. And you can get the significance of the future and change your whole life with this exercise. So the first one, we're on a dark road, and the second, we're on a bright road. So the first one, you close your eyes, easy. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. You can still imagine it though, but close your eyes. For those of you who can, it'll be more powerful that way. And imagine you're driving on a dark road and you can't see very well, and it's foggy and maybe rainy. The road's kind of rough. It's windy. You can't see where you're going. And you don't know what's up ahead. You haven't been on this road before, so you don't know what's up there. And now, JJ, if you would act as the representative for everyone, how do you feel driving on this dark road, not being able to see where you're going? What do you feel in your body?
Little tightness. I'm a little resistant and hesitant because if I can't see what's coming, then I don't want to go too fast and go too far and fall off a cliff. So I'm proceeding cautiously.
Right. And what's happening in your arms and your neck and shoulders?
It's tight.
In your heart?
A little closed, a little tight. Everything's just a little bit tight, like a little tense.
Right. And what emotion are you feeling?
A little fear and like anxiety or anticipation or worry.
Right. And now if you found out, you just sort of knew because of the information, if you found out you had to be on this road for 6 hours, how would you feel?
A pit in my stomach, and I'd feel angry and frustrated that I have to do this for that long.
Yes. And what if you found out you had to be on this road for 6 days?
I would probably feel really defeated and depressed and sad and trapped.
6 months.
I would want to die.
That's where suicide comes from.
Yeah.
That's where I was. And what if you found out that the rest of your life was going to be on this dark road?
What's the point?
Exactly. Now, notice, and all of you trying this, if you can really be honest, and yay for you, JJ, thank you for being so real and so honest. How familiar is this feeling?
It's not for me. I get here sometimes and in different parts of life. It's not mine. It's part of what's been going on a little bit in certain areas of my life for a little while recently, but I don't live here. And which is why I've been
That's why I like you.
Yeah, which is why I've been
That's why we had so much fun when we first connected.
Yeah, I don't live here normally because the problem solver and Sag in me, I'm a Pisces, but I've got a ton of Sag.
Yes.
The truth seeker says this isn't right. There's got to be a better way, and I find a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I like you. When we were talking in the lobby at the podcaster conference and having so much fun, this aliveness, when you realize that it is the future that you're looking forward to that gives you life, or gives you depression. And it's also the reason you're attracted to people, which is what we were going to talk about right at the beginning, is this is how you pick friends and partners, except most people do it unconsciously because they don't even know what their own relationship to the future is. So if you're on the dark road, and notice most people out there who are listening have a lot of time in this dark place with the dark road, even if it's like, oh yeah, I'm positive, but the end result is get old. We are aging, getting older. And so if you're on a dark road, now notice the importance of this. If there's someone in the car with you and you're on this dark road and you're tense and you can't, and there's someone trying to tell you to be positive, and you literally can't see and you don't know if there's a cliff around the corner, and how do you feel?
Frustrated because I only see this. And so you're telling me to do something that I have no idea how to do. And so it makes me agitated or angry. I can imagine. Now that's not me. I know how to change it,
Right.
but somebody else who doesn't would think, why are you judging me? I feel terrible. I can't see how to do it any differently. So leave me alone.
Right. Right. And it's interesting. I've talked with tens of thousands of people about this. The people like you and the people, the Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson, Jack Canfield, I was talking to him last weekend also, Mark Victor Hansen, the most successful, happiest, healthiest people in the world. You ask them, like I asked Jack, how long have you been excited? How do you feel about the future? He said, totally excited. He said, how long have you been excited about the future? I said, number one, I said, you're weird. Do you know that? And he kind of thought, wait, you just called me weird. And then he smiled. He said, you're right. I said, how long have you been excited about the future? And he thought about it. No one ever asked him that before. He said, I always have been. That's the difference between the top 3% in the world, Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson, Jack, Mark, the JJ to a large extent. The people who are happy, healthy, and excited and movers and shakers of changing the world are the ones who are excited about the future. And they're only about 3% of the population. And only about 1% can see a bright future for the whole world. Less than 1%. So you can change that right now if you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm kind of on this dark road and have been for years, and I'm not so sure about what's that. So this state sucks. You agree?
Yes.
Okay, so gently open your eyes, shake off that feeling, and notice that it doesn't shake off easily. It's kind of sticky. It's kind of been slimed and it's still there. So the way you get rid of it is close your eyes this time, and now imagine you're riding in a beautiful environment on a wide open road. No traffic, you can travel as fast as you want. And you can see a glow out over the horizon. You can see a glow. It's like when you're driving from LA to Las Vegas and you can see the glow of the city before you get there, like miles, particularly if you're driving at night. You can see the glow over the horizon, knowing that there is an awesome future where you remember that you're a spiritual being, where you take back your power, where you create an awesome life for yourself and for your loved ones and ultimately for the world. That future is over the horizon and you're on your way. Now, how do you feel, JJ, in your body? Excited,
free, happy, I'm anticipating good things.
What happened to your heart?
It opened up. It perked up. It wanted expression.
And notice, literally, your voice is different. Your energy is different. The speed, you're so speedy. It's so fun. You're a high-speed processor. It's so fun. So now, if you found out, oh, you get to be on this road for 6 hours, and then you get to that awesome future, and then there's an even awesomer, an even better future, an even more amazing future out there beyond that one, and you get to spend 6 hours, 6 months, 6 years on this road. How do you feel?
It's a combination of excited and calm.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, you're so awesome. Thank you, JJ. Notice that. The excitement, the trust, the hope, the connection to the future brings calm. Notice now, how centered are you?
Very.
How present are you for this conversation?
Very.
So I spent 10 years, 12 years being in the moment, taking LSD, hanging out with Ram Dass, going to India, meditating, chanting, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be in the moment. I love being in the moment, but then I was always anxious and worried. It never lasted. And I tried for years. And then when I started working with the future out of desperation, I realized, oh, if I'm connected and trusting my future, being in the moment is a natural state. I don't have to try to do it. It freaked me out. It blew my mind. The way to be in the moment is not try to be in the moment, not to do mindfulness meditations, not to chant. The way to be in the moment is work on your future so you trust it. And then now take a breath and notice what happens with your breathing. Could you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Now, if this future goes on forever and you see yourself 10 years from now, see yourself being happy in an incredibly loving reality, incredible loving relationship, magical, as we were talking about relationships, with a partner who also is really excited about the future. What would that feel like?
Gold.
Yes.
That just feel like, I don't know, can you get higher than that?
No, I think you just maxed the meter.
I mean, companionship and connection and excitement and passion and trust and calm and love and exuberance and anticipation and creativity, and like it's all of it. That would be like all
Yes.
of it.
And if we could plug an extension cord into you right now, we could power all of Los Angeles. Because you're already the ever-ready buddy. That's who you were born as. And now you're connected to the future. And so notice, what kind of a partner do you want? And this is, I work with thousands and thousands of couples. Well, every client I have has relationships, but then a lot of the couples. And the key thing is, one of them usually is excited about the future, and the other one usually is scared of the future. And they've been in therapy. I've had couples in therapy for 30 years, talking about their childhood and talking about their issues, trying to do the emotional, honest sharing exercises and doing the imago process and doing the energy balancing processes and doing the staring in the eyes and all that crap. And none of it's working. They're still arguing. I go, well, what would your ideal future look like? And they go, I don't know. Never thought about it. And that tells me, if they never thought about it, what their future is filled with is what they saw their parents do when they were young, because we create our future from literally before we're born. And the way you create your future in relationship is you watch your parents and all their screwed up stuff, and then you project that into your future. And no wonder I married my mother the first time around. And it didn't work.
Right.
So now, see your awesome future. Now look out when you're 110 years old, JJ, and you're fulfilled beyond your wildest dreams. Created more, because you are a lover, you're a giver, you're here to change the world, change yourself in the process, and have a lot of fun. And you give. Look at what you do. You give to the world. Imagine that you have changed the world through your giving, because when you change, the world changes. Like right now, we are changing the world all over the world. When you're 110 and you know, not only have you far surpassed your dreams of hope and love and all those energies, but you've changed the world with you.
Okay. How
What's
can
she
people
like?
get this from you?
Okay, wait, just one more thing to complete.
Okay.
Imagine that 110-year-old self. What is she like? What do you notice about her?
She's just very calm and centered and complete.
And is she willing to give you that calmness, that centeredness, that completeness? If you let yourself have that feeling right now, what will your day be like today?
Smooth sailing.
Knowing that that's your future. And then ask her about her future, and she waves her arm, and she is excited about her future. And you're going, wait a minute, we're talking about dying. She's excited because she sees her future going home to dance with the goddess forever. To go into the love of God, goddess, all it is, that is forever. That's her future, and she knows it. You asked me about beyond this lifetime. What does your future self tell you about you beyond this lifetime?
What does my future self tell me about me beyond this lifetime?
Uh-huh. And your future. You asked me about lives and
Oh, well, I asked you what you believed about it, because sometimes there's passion and energy and also disguised as fear and trying to save the world, if you believe that the world needs saving, versus if there's multiple lifetimes and we're on a path completely expanding all the time. There is no end point. So this is a constant evolution, and there's a calmness that should come from that, if that's what you believe. So that's why I asked you that. In terms of what my next lifetime, I don't know.
So however many lifetimes it takes, what if beyond the wheel of 84 and all the lifetimes, what if beyond that is going home, getting off the wheel, go home to God and the goddess, touch into that.
Yeah, then that just feels like, again, sort of an airy, clean.
Notice that breath you almost took. Let yourself take it.
Okay, airy, clean, loving, pure, untainted.
And that's who, listen to this carefully, JJ, that's who you really are. And she can help you be that starting today. The connection to the future. And then the ultimate, we can talk about relationship, because obviously we've already used, because I talk so much, we already used up the time today. We can talk about relationship, but the ultimate relationship is, this is just a teaser. What is the relationship between God and the goddess? It's what you want.
Purity, freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
and fun. Lots of fun. And you are fun. I so like you. Oh, I love you, JJ. Thank you. So then bring yourself back to here. You're in the body, you're in for the present, and you're connected to that awesome future. And literally when you are living your day, you can still be connected to the future because that's the way the brain works. It always is. It's a future thinking organism. So feel yourself here and see that awesome future out in front of you. And then gently take a breath and open your eyes. And now notice, even with your eyes open, what is your wise old self, that 180, 90, 100-year-old, what is she doing right now when your eyes are open?
Relaxing on a side of a mountain, watching the ocean.
And she's still there. Even when you're all day today, every moment, she's there, loving you, helping you, supporting you.
So thank you for that, Ty. And I want to know how people can reach you, be in touch with you, work with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. The easiest way is to connect with me through my website. It's FutureVisioning.com. Or I have several websites. The other one is I'm called the Future Whisperer because that's what I do. I whisper and help you connect to your future. So the FutureVisioning.com, the Future Whisperer, they all ultimately go to the same place. And my information is there. My phone number there. You can email me Ti at FutureVisioning.com. And my phone number here is 818-995-0011. And on the free materials page, you can get a set of worksheets. So for all of you who are listening, I recommend that you right now, that we just had that exercise, start writing about what your ideal future is, both 10 years from now, at the end of this lifetime, and then obviously thinking about, like JJ's question, well, do you want to come back and do more lifetimes, or would you rather just complete enough this time, go home and go play in a whole different realm? It's your choice. I do a free consultation where we actually go to your future and you get to step into and become your future self and feel the joy. Like JJ was feeling it because she's sensitive and powerful and willing. You literally become your future self. Thank you so much, JJ. I liked you and I still like you a lot.
Good. That's good. Well, thank you, Ty. I appreciate the time today, the show, and I look forward to interviewing more in the future. We will definitely have more conversations again, but let's get this out to the world and get them connected to you and get everybody focusing on their future. So thank you again for being here today.